if you have a second child, they can fire you. You lose your job. You lose your retirement.
Wow.
Yeah, you lose your everything. Like you just people afraid not to just have a second child.
Okay, ready? You want to start with
With tea, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, start with tea. So are we getting married? Look at the cup here. Right here's a character. Actually, this cup is for people getting married.
Did you get this for your wedding?
No, I get this just to film some content, like their food in China, traditional food for weddings, right? So that's when we serve some tea in the video, will be those cups. Not exact, but it's red. Definitely have those character, means double happiness.
Oh, I love that. That's so beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Vivian. I'm so excited.
Some tea here. If you got some leaves in, then that cup, the top, what do you call that?
The lid?
Lid. Oh, yeah. Sorry, my English. So in China, we actually just put the tea leaves in here. Then you just make the tea. I use this because we're going to share the tea. It'll be easier. And at the top, the lid, when you drink it, here's it. So people like holding this because they're leaves, right? We don't use like a filter or anything. You drink it. So here, so leaves won't get in your mouth.
Oh, so use the lid as like a filter.
Filter. So
the leaves. Oh, I love that. Oh, that's so cool. I'm so excited I have so many questions for you.
Oh, good.
So you were born in China.
Yes.
First of all, I want you to introduce yourself to everybody. Because like you are on social media.
Yeah.
Very successful chef.
Thank you.
We're gonna like later do another episode on being a chef. So many questions about that too. But tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Okay.
And then I have so many questions for you.
Okay. My name is Vivian Aronson. Chinese name, Yuan Qianyi. Probably never remember, but remember Vivian. And I add a cooking bomb. That's my social media handle, and I use everywhere.
Very successful.
Thank you. A bomb, I think I come with. I eat very spicy food, or that's where I'm from, Sichuan. It's a lot of spicy food. I say a bomb, like a explosion. Oh yeah, so I thought it's a catchy name, so I decided to use that. And actually, I'm use cooking, right? Cooking, people always search cooking. So
cooking bomb, I love that. And you're on all social media
platforms. All social media platforms, like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook.
Love it. Oh, and I always tell people to add the Facebook because so many people. It's so good. We always love our Facebook people.
Yeah, Facebook people, older moms.
That's good. We love our moms. We love absolutely. So you were born in China.
I was born in China, moved here.
Where in China were you born?
Sichuan province.
Okay.
Where pandas from?
You know, American zoos are getting pandas back.
I heard there's a couple back, right? It's borrowed, right? It's borrowed from China.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Isn't it? I believe it's like legally China owns all pandas in the world, and they allow different countries to have them in their zoos, but they can take them back at any time.
Yes.
And they did for a while, but we're going to be getting some back.
That's good. Good relationships now.
We're very excited.
Yeah.
But so I have so many questions. I don't even know where to start. Okay. So you moved here, how old?
I was 27.
27. So you like really lived in China.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
So what was that like? Like, what are some of the most memorable things? What are some of the things that like were the most memorable of growing up in China?
So growing up in China, I actually grew up with my grandparents.
Okay.
My parents were divorced and when I was young, so I always lived with my grandparents. Also, their town they live have better schools, so really close to my grandparents. And so since I love cooking, my grandma's a great cook. As growing up, I help her in the kitchen cooking on little steps to
That's
stir fry.
Is that where you got like your passion for cooking?
They're always involved food. Because actually growing up in China, you'd be surprised. We eat home every day. Like I never go out, rarely. And back then, China wasn't that many restaurants open.
Okay.
So people usually eat home, and we didn't have a refrigerator, so you have to cook fresh food and eat it the same day.
Is it normal to not have a refrigerator?
Yeah, normal, like everybody, nobody had it until the 90s.
Really?
Yeah, until the 90s, I was in the early 90s, people getting, like imported, you know.
Okay.
China didn't even make a refrigerator at that time.
Wow.
So there are people like, they work on the boat, right? I know there are friends' parents that say, oh, your father worked on a boat, they went to Japan, brought back a refrigerator, you know, that's how they got it.
That's crazy.
Crazy. I said, oh, I'm gonna go to your place. I wanna have, you know, they have like, if you have a refrigerator, that time they have ice cream, it's so new to me. So I said, oh, it's so great. So that's from Japan. So that wasn't popular, like a few people, if you work a special job, you can get a refrigerator. So I say, that's why we Chinese eat everything fresh. Like fresh, don't like frozen food or prepared. So always, but it takes a lot of time. You're cooking every day, right? You have to prepare food, you have to eat, cook again every day. It's time consuming too.
So is that the reason that refrigerators weren't super popular in China? Because like the idea of like fresh food and not refrigerating your food, or was it just like more like a technological delay?
The delay, technology, but now people use it like it, or you can store your food, right?
Yeah.
It's just more efficient. I mean, for young people, right?
Yeah,
You don't have to kind of cook every day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're so busy. So what are some other crazy, maybe not even crazy, but just memorable differences of growing up in China? Like you have children now.
Yeah.
What are some things that you experienced growing up in China that they don't experience here?
For example, I didn't know in the American, now I have kids, they have snacks, right?
Yeah.
They said, after lunch, I have to pack snack for school. You're a school teacher.
Yeah.
A breakfast, lunch, you're snack time. This snack time. Never had snack time.
They don't have snack time.
No. You just eat just 3 meals a day. That's it.
So there's like not really snack food.
Not snack food.
Interesting.
Yeah, no snacking time.
Do you like snack time or do you not like snack time? Like now that you see it in America, are you like for snack time or no snack time?
No, I still just so now I get a habit. I myself I don't snacking. So
Yeah.
I think just a habit growing up that I didn't have any snack. My kids have it. They say, eat too much junk food because they have this bar, Kit Kats, or they like Talkies. Oh my god. Yeah. My kids.
Oh my god.
My son loves it.
Kids and their Takis, mate. They're so obsessed. And you have middle schoolers. Middle schoolers and their
10-year, 12-year-olds that have,
Interesting. So like what was school like for you? Like now that your kids are going through school, what are some major differences that you notice between like growing up and going to school in China versus here?
I think difference is we have bigger class.
Really?
My class is like how many kids I have? I have 45 kids in my class.
I did teach a class that had 42 kids in it. But that's not good. But we don't like that here. We want smaller class sizes.
And also here I see the difference is like my kids go to first grade, second, third. Each grade you have your own teacher.
Right.
Then in China is same teacher.
Really?
From first to sixth grade, I have a main teacher, right? Main teacher usually teaches Chinese, so she's in charge of the whole class until sixth grade. And then the math teacher usually they follow all the way through. So I see that difference. Yeah.
Do you like that? Do you prefer having the same teacher, or do you like that your kids get different teachers now?
We get different teachers, different experience, right? I feel like we have same person the whole 6 years.
And if you don't like them, that's bad.
It's bad.
They don't like you.
I didn't like the last teacher, and now I think China's getting better. Back then, I went to school in the 80s, right? The math teacher is so serious. Like someone talking through the chalk. Go have chalkboard and a brush. She's pretty bang. I'm like, I know.
That's crazy. You can't do that.
I know you can't do that here. Nobody want to talk in her class. It's like, oh, quiet. I have a friend that he's kind of a naughty boy, he's like, turn over, talk to someone. So she literally walk off the podium there, grab his collar, out the door. You go out.
Do that. Oh my.
Yeah, different experience, right? I was just so scared, like, I was like, what, 10, 11,
That's crazy.
And then one crazy snack I made a video about. We didn't have snack time, but kids after like a recession for 10 minutes, so we take a break. We want to eat something. So secretly newspaper. We will pack some chili pepper powder, actually chili pepper, mixed with sugar. And you lick on it.
Chili pepper and sugar.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay, I'll have to try that.
You have to try. Yeah, it's kind of sweet and spicy. It's good.
I have a friend who is from Mexico. She opened up a Mexican candy shop, and she always it's all spicy candy.
Oh, it's spicy candy.
Grow up with spicy. I'll have to send you the link.
Okay, I would love spicy candy. Yeah.
And she does it all. She's also a chef. She's wonderful. Her name is Brenda. Her candy shop is Pika Sweets. Pika Sweet, and it's all candy based on things that she ate when she grew up in Mexico.
Oh.
And she always makes fun of me because I didn't grow up with spicy candy.
Oh. And what about spicy food? Did you eat any growing up?
I eat. I eat spicy food. But my dad is from Israel, so
okay,
spicy.
all right.
Okay. My dad will just pop in a ghost pepper, and he's like,
oh, wow.
Delicious, and I'm like, this is selfish anxiety. Oh no. But I never had sweet spicy. So she'll record me eating her spicy candy as a joke, as a gag.
Is it really spicy?
It's so
Oh, really? Oh.
Brenda likes spicy things, and I'll eat spicy things, but Brenda really likes spicy. They really like spice. Yeah, I like sweet candy. But so, what are some things? It was really cool. A couple weeks ago, I did an episode with a guy who grew up in the USSR, and so I really loved hearing about like how America was portrayed in schools, like as he was growing up. So, do you remember like? What are some ways or what are some things that you thought about America growing up in China before you ever came here? Or what were you taught as a kid?
We taught a lot of Chinese history. There's a Western world, not that much, but we watch TVs. Even back then, TVs they don't feature a lot of mercy singers or movies. So by the 2000s, there are more movies, TV shows coming in. So to me, for example, New York City, where my husband from, New York City to me is like I watched it before in the video or movie, just like movie, When it actually there's no way. I mean, the movies like a Central Park.
It's like, oh, this place is real.
Listen, no, to me it was just a movie set, and then, oh, look nice.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So do you remember like when you learned about Chinese history, like was America typically portrayed as like the good guys, the bad guys, like neutral guys? Like what did you typically learn about America? Because I know when I talked to Dimitri, he talked a lot about how like they were taught that capitalism was very scary and bad, and that they would use like very stereotypical caricatures of Americans. Americans are all overweight and they're all mean and greedy. Like, were you taught anything specific about like, just out of curiosity?
Yeah, the capitalism, same thing. Capitalism is bad, the communism is good. Yeah. That's true. I think back then I was in school, there are some bad things about here, but I think now it got worse because of the relationship. I think the school, not just school, like an old population, I think the portrait of the Americans are much worse than when I grew up, I think.
Really?
Right
So
now.
you think that they're teaching worse things about America today than they did before?
I don't think it's necessarily teaching, just the media.
Okay.
Yeah, media, like there's a lot of crime. People actually are afraid. So, don't go. There's just so much crime. People shooting each other. There's a lot of guns. People think this is not safe here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. People actually worry. My parents even say, people have gun everywhere. Just be careful. Your kids are, they worry. So they heard the news about school shooting or people have, because in China you cannot have gun.
Yeah.
You cannot have gun. So they feel the American now probably not safe,
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's so interesting because I feel like for so long, like a lot of Americans have this idea that everyone wants to come here because it's the best place ever. And
Yeah.
there are a lot of opportunities in America, but I
Yeah.
think they don't understand that in a lot of places in the world, America is seen as a very unsafe place to live for people. What are some other stereotypes that people in Chinese might think about Americans or America in general?
Stereo things. In the early, 2000s, a lot of American fast food come in. So you want to hear the opinion about fast food? When I first had a KFC, right? That was the 2000. I would say 2000. 2001, KFC just got in. It's like a fancy restaurant, and two Chinese people there.
Really?
Yeah, and it's expensive,
Really?
because you go to a restaurant, just have some Chinese food, right?
Right.
Not expensive. KFC, they charge you way more than you just go have boiled noodles or grab lunch and just a regular. Yeah, so it's expensive. So if you want to date someone, they say, oh, take you to KFC. Oh, okay. I have a feel like I'm going to a fancy restaurant.
Really?
Yeah,
That's so funny.
They really market well. And actually, chickens taste much better. I remember I said I really like KFC, the fried chicken. And I tasted here, oh, different.
Really?
Yes, no different.
Hey, why do you think that is? Like, what do you think they do differently at the KFCs here versus there?
I think it's seasoning. They also did their own seasoning. For example, the dry seasoning they put on more fit the local people's flavor taste. They add that, and they also invented some new dish too, like the chicken wings called the New Orleans chicken wings. People really thought this place in New Orleans in America famous for chicken wings. Then they went there, they couldn't find any chicken wings. It's like this. I even buy, so since that chicken wing got so famous in China, people want to remake it at home, and so they said, "What's the KFC secret?" Right? Then these spice companies start making these mix. So you can buy like in Asian market, New Orleans spice mix. Just make chicken wings. That's easy. You put it in, add some honey, and then you bake it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's again that popular that.
That's so funny.
So,
What made you move from China to America? Like what if it the kind of the idea was that it was more of an unsafe place to live, what made you want to come here?
I should know back then when I growing up, but people actually want to move here. And it's like, okay, so yeah,
Okay, so that's more
there's more recent.
theory is recent. Okay.
Recent, yeah. People want to come. Yeah, definitely culture shock. If you move here from China in the 90s and move in the 2000, in the 90s, people move here even so shocked in the apartment. Oh, you turn the faucet, hot water. Oh, hot water. Oh my God. From the, yeah, it was like,
You didn't have that growing up?
growing up, no, it's not hot water.
What?
So later you have to install this gas, then you can have hot water. But growing up, you don't have like a net to just hook up hot water. You just take on the shower. No, you take a shower in the bucket. Like,
Wow.
so later we installed like a water tank on the wall, but you see that's the power on the electricity. You take a shower, you have to watch the meter. It goes down, there's no water. So later now the problem is the technology, everything you hook up, you can have natural gas, right? But no, so if you come from China in the 90s, hot water in the shower even is surprising, you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's okay. What are some other things that were like culture shocks for you?
I would say, from a big city, I'm from like a 10 million people, moved to Minnesota, small town. Just like small town, right? Then even in downtown Minneapolis, especially in the winter, I would just drive there. People don't walk. I said, where's everybody? There's no people. You don't see people.
Oh, they don't walk around.
Around, you just see
Something cold, not
yeah, yeah, I just feel like I walk on the street with people. Like I was missing that. Yeah.
interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any other things that like really stick out to you as like, wow, that's different or that's crazy?
Different, I think because I moved here, I speak a very limited English.
Uh-huh.
So I was kind of relying on my husband because I practiced with him. I went to college to take a language course.
Okay.
So if we go out, I still kind of nervous back then when I moved here. Like for example, go to a restaurant. I think the difference in China, the waitress come over. Oh, they order quickly, right? You say they leave. Come take your order, they leave. They don't like have a conversation, that kind of. So here, I already try to understand her English. She'll come over and say, hi, my name is Ashley. I said, what is she talking about? Why is she standing there? Give a whole speech. My God, be my dictionary.
Because I don't know how to talk to you.
Yeah. No, so in China, they don't have a conversation. Okay, leave. You know what I mean? That's a different culture.
Interesting.
Or they say their name. Nobody say their name,
Really?
Yeah.
That's something that Dimitri said a lot in Russia, that like people don't smile at each other like they here. And so he got here and he's like, why is everyone looking at me? Like, why are people smiling at me?
Yeah.
That it's so interesting to just hear how this is a quick question, but to go into a different question. How long have you done social media?
I think I started 2019, post some food pictures, and then during pandemic, I really started posting more videos.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So I know that there was a lot of like hate around Asian culture during COVID. Did you experience that, especially like on social media, being a woman from China?
Oh, definitely. So when I post like cooking videos, I will got comments like, "Oh, you bring COVID here," like go back to my country. That kind of
That's so rude. How did you deal with that?
So I think I just kind of block out certain words, or I would just filter words, or I'm not really looking at these. Actually, my fans, they will reply for me.
Good. I
Yeah.
love that. I love when they do that. That's so sweet. And I'm sure that was a really difficult time
Yeah.
mentally.
Yeah, and I couldn't go back to China, so I'm planning to go back next year.
To
for it.
visit or to move?
To visit.
Yeah, I was listening.
No, because I haven't seen my parents since 2018. I was visiting them.
Oh wow.
I know. COVID, because COVID, also they cancel a lot of flights. Even now, they don't have a lot of flights to China.
So I know it's like different, but I have a friend who is in the Disney program and she hangs out with a Disney princess in Hong Kong.
Oh,
And so when she got the call that they wanted her back in Hong Kong, she had to quarantine for I think 14 days
yes,
in
that's
the
true.
hotel room before she was allowed to go and join us the park.
Yeah.
And it was wild. Which obviously like it's good that they're
doing that. We're very strict.
It's good to make sure that like people aren't sick and getting other people sick, especially when you're in a new country. Like, it could, especially when we didn't know much about the disease.
Yeah.
It's always better to be safe and
We didn't go back because there's no direct flight. Taking kids, you do multiple flights. It's hard, and you had to quarantine for 14 days. Not even in my city, in the capital.
today.
No, during COVID. So I had to quarantine in the capital, Beijing, for 14 days. Then you can fly to your city. Then quarantine in my city. Then you can go out. So it's just big deal.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So now that like COVID is kind of, all that stuff's kind of older news. And the new big news is kind of the issues with TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
What are your thoughts on some of the, because I know it's so funny. I'm trying to think of how I have so many questions that my ADHD doesn't know how to ask them one at a time. So I know like people get really bent out of shape about the idea of TikTok and China's listening to us and blah, blah, blah. Like, how does that make you feel as like a woman from China? Is that something where you're like, oh my God, Americans are so dumb? Or is it something that like you think is like, oh no, maybe, I don't know. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, so I think TikTok, they definitely monitor the Chinese version. Because we have a separate app. If I want to TikTok China, I have to actually get a brand new phone because I don't want to change my Apple Store to China.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So there are other Chinese social apps that easier I use because I don't have to change your phone,
Do you use Bilibili?
Some occasion watch, I use 小红书, the little red book.
Okay.
Little red book. So because I don't need to change, I just download the app and use it. But TikTok China I cannot use unless I use a different device. Just too much trouble. So I think that in China, yeah, they definitely focus on that. I don't know how much they focus on the TikTok here in the West, because this TikTok is global except China.
Yes.
Yeah, except China.
I actually had a company reach out to me and ask if they could post my content on Bilibili.
Yeah, I have too.
An account on Bilibili, and I was like, yeah, that would be cool to, like, why not? And so they gave me access to the account, and I of course had to like Google Translate the entire page because I wanted to know, like, what is this and what's going on, and I had to read the comments, and all of the comments were like, this isn't really her, blah blah blah. And I'm like, no, hi. I'm me. Like, I thought it would be really cool to have like a base in China. They're like, no, you're some 40-year-old man or something. You're just reposting her American videos. And I'm like, no, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, you post because I want to post since I speak Chinese. I just want to find people I know to post it for me, but I haven't really start doing that.
I gotta send you their email address. It's a company based in London. They're really nice. I need to reach out to them again. I haven't sent them content in a while, but I need to. Because like, why not? Like, why would you not want to expand your
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Like,
So now I only post a few videos on called. You should post on there too, called the Little Red Book.
Red Book.
Little Red Book.
Okay.
Yeah, the app.
So what are some tips that you have for like Americans who really want to visit China? Like, what are things that are typical American touristy things that people should stay away from? That's like might be considered rude or offensive that Americans might not know about.
So if you want to visit, first definitely you want to visit the capital, right? You want to see the Great Wall.
Yeah.
Forbidden City.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but you want the best food, you visit my hometown, Sichuan province. I would consider it's the best food, and there are variety of like flavor, not just spicy. And so now if I go back, I'll be shocked. Now I saw so many new restaurants opened. Yeah, if you want to do a food, focus on food, I do think Sichuan is a good place. And Panda.
I want to see what that is.
Yeah.
Are there any like behaviors that Americans do when they're visiting that locals might say is like, don't do that? Don't do that here?
Or sometimes if you sit on a table, you don't feel like you're offended, but because people will constantly tell you to eat, right? They will take food, put on your bowl. Don't be offended. Why you use your chopsticks? That's normal. So they will give you food. They will give you drinks. For example, alcohol. They want you to drink more.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Very hospitable.
Yeah, or I mean, now there's less people smoking, but still people smoking.
Okay.
They might offer you cigarettes.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's so hospitable. I don't smoke, though. Please do.
It's my husband doesn't smoke, right? So when we went to China, that someone, my father's friend, to offer him cigarettes. He doesn't want to take it, but he feel like a pressure. So he took it. I even made a video. I said, so funny of a picture. I said, you're smoking. I said, if you don't take it, they just feel like they're offended, right? Well, if they offer you something, right? because that's just smoking is normal, culture there. And he said, okay, he did it. I see our picture, he's smoking.
Oh, bless his heart. I love
Yeah.
that. Are there any other things that like Americans should be aware of before going to China? Like I know in some cultures, for example, like at Disney, the cast member, and I say that because like we're in Florida and I was just at Disney yesterday. Like the cast members are trained not to point towards anything. They use like hand gestures because in some cultures, like pointing is offensive. Are there any like mannerisms that Americans might do that could be misconstrued in China or anything like that? Like something to just stay away from so that they know, hey, don't do that.
You might find it weird. Sometimes you meet someone, they don't tell you their names, so don't offended. There are people. I think because of the culture growing up, their cultural revolution, or history, people more keep them to themselves. Yeah. So if they don't tell you their names, don't be offended. Like yeah. But
Makes sense.
yeah, Americans more outgoing. So, oh hi, my name is hi my.
My friend.
They might say hi. They don't tell you their names.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes
Or they use their nickname. Even people like now I talk online. Like I will try to find a say photographer or some. They told me recently I was talking to someone from China. They told me I said my name is Lemon. I said okay, your name is Lemon. That's interesting. I know. I said if I'm Chinese, I understand. They're concerned, right?
Yeah.
They didn't want to tell me their real name. My husband was making fun. Okay, what's the next name? Fish.
There are some as a teacher, I can tell you there are some interesting names that parents give to their children.
For example.
Oh, so many. And it's hard because
Yeah.
sometimes the parents like to be creative and sometimes there are cultural names that sound different here. If that makes sense.
Oh, sound different.
So like,
Yeah.
I vividly remember when I was teaching freshman world history.
Yeah.
And I taught at a school that was like a cultural melting pot.
Oh.
A beautiful place. I really loved learning so much about like the different kinds of students that were there. And I was putting names on the desk for the first day in alphabetical orders, like burn their names. And I came across this name that on paper it looked like Ratchet. And I sat there looking at this piece of paper because I was like, I've got to be saying this wrong. There's no way. So then I came up with the idea that I would let the students introduce themselves.
Oh, great idea.
I wouldn't mispronounce their names.
Yeah.
And I could hear it. But no, this kid's name was Ratchet.
Really?
And
Boy or girl?
a boy.
Oh.
And it was a cultural thing. But I felt so bad that like I was so anxious. And I'm like, I know this is just something that is a cultural difference, but this gives me so much anxiety to call a student Ratchet when that is used as slang for something bad. Bad here.
Oh, I don't even know the slang.
It's like
I don't think I know that
some
slang.
people use it as an adjective. It's like not good.
I have to look up later.
Yeah, it's like it's not anything that's like. It's not like a slur or anything like that. But it's like the adjective is like the equivalent of like not good kind of thing. It's like
You reminded the name remind me something offended American. So there, for example, when I had a baby in the hospital here, my parents came right from China. From China, so we were sitting in the hospital room, just had baby. I was there for a while because I might have twins. They were premature, so we stayed in the hospital for a while. We have apples there, so my husband just pick up an apple, start eating. So my stepmom was offended. No, she told me later. You know why? Because in China, if you sit it together somewhere, a family or friends, if you start eating something, you have to offer everybody else.
Oh.
She was like, oh, I don't mind, but she's just eating the apple by himself, didn't offer everybody else. He found it just, yeah. She said, my husband said, she can have an apple. Nobody's stopping her. Even they don't talk to each other because they don't speak English. Also, my husband didn't offer any because he doesn't speak Chinese.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Right?
He started the wrong. He started.
But yeah, that's the
I
thing.
think it's a
Cultural difference.
Did you think of any others that either of you might have experienced?
Can't think the second, but I remember food definitely. So if my parents are sitting there, anybody, I try to eat something, I have to offer everybody. So, oh, do you want some of this? I can't just sit there eating myself. Or even just an apple.
That you can have it. You
Right.
have to verbally offer.
Oh yeah, even there's plate of fruit. You know, I still verbally have to offer you. Want some of this? I can't just here.
That's so. Oh, poor thing. He was probably so stressed out.
Also, Chinese people more feel like a play. If you invite me to your house, have dinner, right?
Yeah.
There's so much food you cook. You said, oh, you want some more? Chinese people would say, oh, no. They try to be like polite.
Right.
Actually, they are still hungry.
You have to offer multiple times.
Yeah, I would say, no. Actually, I'm still hungry. There are people don't know. Move here, just starve them. You know, they're at a party. So, oh, I said no. Then they don't give me food. Like,
Oh, okay. So in China, you have to offer multiple times and insist. Oh, please. Oh, yeah. That's how my grandmother, she's from Poland. Her family is Polish. So yeah, I get it. But no, here, if you say no, they're like, oh, okay.
yeah, okay, but it doesn't. I say no.
Pushy.
When I just moved here, I feel I don't want to say, oh yes, like I'm always want to eat, right? So in China, you would say, oh, no. But people know you say no is implied, so you want to offer more.
Okay, so when you go to China, if you really don't want it, you have to be very firm.
Firm,
Don't
yeah.
all wants it.
Yeah, do I want? You say no, they still offer food, you know?
I love it. Can you think of any like misconceptions that people might have about you in general when they hear you're from China? Like, what are some stereotypes that they typically assume about you?
Assume about me, there was wondering how I got here. And I said, oh, I made a video about, I moved here because I met my husband in China. And I even made a video about how we met.
Sweet.
Yeah, and how we met. And he used to, when we dating, he used to fly every other month to China. Big flight.
Oh, that's true.
I know. Almost for 3 years, tired of flying.
Oh, he loves you so much. Oh, that's so beautiful.
Long distance is not easy, and we are like, one here, one here.
That's a great example of if he wanted to, he would.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's if they wanted to, they would. I love that. Okay, continue.
Oh, you said, remind me again? No,
What do people assume about you?
Also, they assume, oh, you marry your husband. I was talking about marrying my husband. Oh, because, like I want to just come here. You know, a lot of people say, they're assuming you come here, get a green card, you know, become a citizen. They were assuming that.
That's so rude. That's so rude. People, it can't be for love.
Can you for love? No.
No. You just want to be here.
I want to be here.
Oh,
yeah.
Gosh. I feel like people don't understand that moving away from your whole life
Oh, yeah.
family is such a big deal. Like,
Yeah.
sure, at the time there were a lot more opportunities here, but like some people don't even like moving to other states or cities
Yeah, that's
away
true.
from their family. You want to go across the world.
Yeah.
That's not as easy. That's
Not easy.
people.
So only person I know is him, you know?
Yeah.
In this side of the world. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sorry, can you think of any other misconceptions people might have or like assumptions people might make about you?
So it's interesting that I still have Chinese accent.
Yes.
Which is, and natural. Now my kids are making fun of my accent now. They repeat, like certain words I just can't pronounce in the
My dad's the same way.
Yeah. So there are people assuming actually interesting. They said, do you have a fake accent? I said, oh, thank you. My English is so good. They were assuming my accent from different country or I'm just faking. You know, there are a lot of skits people doing, faking the Asian accent. They just think I'm faking my accent, actually a lot.
Really?
Yeah, it's funny. Their comment section, they say, you have fake accent, or I said, I wish.
Which I could turn.
Yeah.
When I was doing my interview with Dimitri's like, I haven't, he's like, I don't, my accent's not as strong all the time. I'll just be talking normally. And I'm like, you do realize you still have an accent, okay? Like, that's okay.
Yeah.
I just want you to know.
Yeah.
Well, like, you do still sound Russian. In case you thought you didn't.
But it's funny, right? People assume it's a fake accent. You think that I acting that way to get views or get people to watch my video or think it's funny, right? Because there are a lot of people doing the Asian accent for comedies, which is funny, you know? Yeah.
So, my grandmother has a very, very strong Israeli accent. And so when I was getting married to my ex, I remember my grandmother called my former husband's family, left a voicemail. She was just so excited, just wanted to talk and get to know the family, wanted updates about the wedding, blah, 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 blah. And then just remember, my former father-in-law's sister called and she's like, I don't know what she's saying. Can you listen to this, please, and let me know? Because I don't know what to say that. I have no idea what she's saying. I'm like, yeah, I got you. It's fine. She leaves me the sweetest messages. I keep them saved on my phone. Oh, Rebecca Lane. Oh, Mama La.
Yeah, I even have trouble if someone from different country, if I have accent, I don't understand a lot of time. Or even British accent. I don't, it's hard for me.
It can be hard.
Yeah.
I'll after this, I'll play you my grandmother.
Oh, yeah, I wonder.
That's my voice. She's the sweetest.
She has some family there? Is there?
Oh yes. So
Oh, wow.
my grandmother has 2 sisters, and they're all still over there.
Are you Jewish?
And yes.
My husband too.
Really?
Yeah, he's Jewish. His mother visited Israel. New York Jew. You know why he married me? Because Chinese food is the only food available on Christmas, right?
That's correct. Yeah, and we need places to go on Christmas.
Chinese food.
Love it. So my grandmother has 2 sisters over there. My grandfather's side's a little bit trickier on their Holocaust survivors.
Oh.
And so most of his family kind of passed then.
Oh.
He had a sister and a brother who survived with him.
Oh.
They have both since passed of old age.
Mm.
But he has
Nephews.
and nieces that are still around that he definitely keeps in touch with. Yeah, so we try to see them when we can.
Yeah.
Every couple of years, you know, they're awesome. And it's so funny because I never even met them until I was in my 20s.
Oh, really?
The last time I ever went was in my 20s for with my brother.
Oh, okay.
And it's so funny because we never met before. But I just look at some of my cousins over there and I'm like, oh my God, we look exactly. Oh, that's so.
Yeah, someone you like a look-alike, right? But you never met.
Like similar mannerisms, and I'm like, this is crazy. This is so weird. So it's definitely interesting. It's definitely interesting, and it's definitely like culture shock hearing what they're doing at the time. I was 22 when I met them, what they're doing at 22 versus what I was doing at 22. You know, they by law have to go military to do this, and they have to. College is not the same over there. What is college like in China?
So in China, you get into colleges, you take this national test. But here too, like SAT, right? It's kind of.
Yes.
On
The SATs is
that
apply to college.
to apply for college. But in China, there's a similar to SAT, but that's a one test.
Yes.
You have to pass to getting. Say if you higher score, you're getting good college. There's just one test you have to do. So I think that's the difference. Here, college more see you have to have other stuff, right? But in China, you have to do that test well. But if you do, for example, art school, actually, I wanted to do art school. I always like drawing and painting growing up. But for art school, you actually have to go take a test.
Really?
Like you sit there, they have a test, you do the drawing. And you sit there, you're doing a painting. You know, there's a cool actual test. For example, there's that statue, David, for example, the white, then plaster, then you have to draw it. So I was want to do that. My art teacher, I was doing drawing since middle school. I take some more serious class. Then he said, if you want to do art school, we have special classes to help you, you know, do these, you know, take SAT art. Like, yeah, so do it. And I told my dad, I said, I really want to go to art school. He said, art school, not even. But he think I'm gonna be a starving artist, not find a job. So I didn't get to go to art school. So he said, you have to study computer science when you graduate, so you can find a job. That's what I studied.
Oh my God. So you have a computer science degree?
Yes.
Wow. Have you ever used it?
I think I use a lot of now, like doing even the computer operating system different. But I think I use a lot of that knowledge to use it today, like doing video editing,
Do you
computer.
use Adobe?
I use Adobe.
I need you to teach me how to Adobe. I don't know how to Adobe. It's so hard. It's difficult. I hate it. I look at it, and my dad is also in computer science. My dad and my brother.
All right.
They're like, oh, Rebecca, it's so simple. And I'm like, they try to explain something to me. I'm like, what? I have no idea what you're saying. You're gonna have to teach me how to Adobe. I interrupted you, please.
No problem. Like I said, I want to be an artist, but I have to study computer, find a job. That's what typical Chinese parents want you to do, right? You become study computer, become a lawyer, or become a doctor. That's a better job.
My friend, I have a very good friend, Lizzie, whose parents are from Korea. And so she also wanted to do something more in the artsy world, and the parents were like, no.
Oh, and my dad said this. My dad said this. That actually, I was doing drawing, doing these like art competition in the school. Even the higher they show my work, I was so proud. And dad said, "There's so many people can draw better than you." He said, "You're not gonna get in our school." I said,
Did you ever, after computer science degree, did you then try to do art school or no?
no, I just do it on my own.
Okay.
Just drawing as a hobby or painting. Actually, when I was in Minnesota for 4 years, I did an art-related business. Have you heard of paint night?
Yeah.
Paint night. So the paint and sip you do in the restaurant bars.
Yeah, like sipping.
Sipping wine. You
Yeah.
paint. So I started just me. I got a license. Paint night is a big company. You get I'm a licensee in Minnesota. I got a license. I started on my own. So I will bring the canvas to the restaurant bar and set up and all the painting kits. I will be the party host that teach people step by step how to paint. So I did that, and I hire artists. I was doing like 80 events a month in Minnesota.
Wow.
So it was like 7 artists working for me. So they will do multiple locations. So I can't teach you all that, right?
Yeah.
So there will be artists teaching on Monday to Friday, some artists on Sundays, all that. So it's a fun event to do. So I feel enjoy it to do the event, so I can teach people how to paint. So that was really fun. Actually, I told my dad, see, I use my art skills to do something.
I love that. What did he say? What did he say?
No, he didn't say anything. Oh, okay.
I love that. I have one more question for you. And this is more like, so I used to teach social studies. I'm such a history nerd. I love it so much. And my favorite story in history is actually from ancient China.
Well,
Because I think this person is just so fascinating. But I've heard that in like modern times,
Yeah.
a lot of Chinese schools don't like to talk about her. Is Empress Wu. Wu's a town. Have you learned about her?
well, which character? Have to say
Empress
that.
Wu. Wu's a town.
I'm
I'm saying it wrong.
right now. Right.
Saying it wrong. She was the only female Chinese empress.
Oh, what? Cixi?
Yes. You
Cixi?
don't know how to, yeah.
So even even I move here, even another culture thing is everything translated in Chinese. Even now, say for example the American states, right? If I tell people the English name, they don't know. When we learn the states, the name is in Chinese.
How would you say Florida in Chinese?
佛罗里达.
Really?
And it was literally Chinese character writing. So the sound is similar to Florida.
Interesting.
But the characters are close, to the pronunciation.
How would you say, like, you might not, I don't know. Would you know how to say, like, North Carolina? That's right, bro.
北卡, just base in north.
Okay.
Ka kind of similar to Carolina, 克罗里纳, 北克罗里纳.
Okay, that makes sense.
So the shorter version is 北卡. Yeah, we call it.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love that. But I love the story of Empress Wu for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, for those that like don't know, you're about to see my history nerd come out. I love it so much. So Wu was started out as an 8-year-old girl and was basically sold to the emperor to be a special lady friend.
Oh, who's another empress you're talking about? The Cixi is the latest Qing dynasty. She kind of behind the curtain.
Not
The Wu Zetian. You talk about Wu Zetian. That one, Wu Zetian. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, not the dowager, but the
Yeah.
She started out as an 8-year-old. She was sold to the emperor as like a special lady friend. And as she grew up, she realized that she's smart. She's a smart girl, a very smart lady. As she got older, she realized that, because she started so young, she would never be the favorite of the emperor. So she paid attention to his son. So then when the son took the throne, she was one of his favorite special lady friends, ended up becoming one of the wives. They had children together. Their first daughter actually unfortunately passed. She blamed the first wife. No one actually knows what happened to that daughter, right?
There are so many different versions. I mean, TV shows,
Well, there are 3 options. They believe, they don't know if Wu actually did something to the daughter.
Some believe it. Some believe it.
Some believe it, but there's a reason they believe it. Which some believe that the first wife did it, and some believe it was just like SIDS or something natural.
It could be so long ago.
There's so many babies that don't make even these days, much less in ancient times.
Yeah.
But pretty much she was moved up to wife number 1, and then kind of slowly poisoned all of the advisors, slowly like took power and control. When her husband died, she kind of took control of the sons and each one until she was like, ah, none of you were listening to me. I'm just going to be empress. And the way that they portray her in a lot of history is, oh, she was a murderer. She poisoned everyone. Well, she was evil. But at the same time, in the same time period in other places in the world, we have
the female leader, right?
well,
Yeah.
no.
They're female leader. I mean, she's like a very first one.
Male leaders do
Yeah.
just as brutal
Yeah,
things. Like you have Alexander the Great, who is like his
all these
twin brothers, so that they don't ever oppose him. You have down the line, you have Roman emperors later on doing terrible things, putting disabled people in the Colosseums to fight to the death, kind of thing. You have the Mongols who are brutalizing everyone, and Empress Wu actually allowed women to take the civil service exam and started incorporating women into more political and government jobs and opened the civil service exam to not just rich dudes, but like anyone really, because she wanted anyone to be able to change their fates just like she changed her own from being sold at 8 years old.
Yeah, because back then, female girls encouraged not to go to school.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's really interesting to me to see how different institutions present Wu as like this monster when in general rulers around the world at the same time are doing just as brutal things.
They're back then. All the emperors, king is doing the brutal things. Yeah.
But she was doing so much for women and common people at a time where no one else was. And I just think it's fascinating. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's interesting to see how people portray her compared to like I know schools like idolize Alexander the Great, and he was the greatest ruler ever. But he was, I mean, he murdered a lot of people too. I mean, even in his own family, just like her. Like it's just, it's interesting to me. I know.
You know, I don't think if I mention a name to anyone, nobody knows. Like, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I know you.
Yeah. I love it. I'm such a nerd about it. Sorry, guys.
Also, my husband is a history nerd. You guys kind of have a great conversation. As all Jewish people.
Jewish history nerd.
Yeah, I know.
I love it.
Then he in college, guess what he studies? He studied Latin. I said, well, yeah, ancient language.
My brother did that. I lied. I have one other question from you.
Oh, no problem.
And this I think is like a big misconception that people like just kind of assume about I wouldn't say misconception, but it's definitely a stereotype that people associate with China. And it's like the one child rule. Was that in place when you were growing up?
Yes, I'm the first generation, like one child. So
really,
they started 1978.
Yes,
That's the cutoff. Anyone born after 1978, you know, anyone born that, you cannot have more than one child.
How do you enforce that?
So enforce that is, for example, you in China, like my father, he's a doctor, and then he has a real job. And then my mom, they work in a big, I don't know, you call it, it's like a factory, but they have different, like she's doing the measurements of the machine, or you have a job there, right? Then that job is give you a pension, give you retirement. You know, it's a good job, like in China, because you have a real job. If you have a second one, child, they can fire you. You lose your job. You lose your retirement.
Wow.
Yeah, you lose your everything. Like you just people afraid not to just have a second child.
So like, what if there's like oopsie accident? What do you do?
So there are like small towns. You oopsie have one. Even you don't want an abortion, that the government people will drag you to have abortion.
Really?
Yeah, force you.
It's like a very normal thing in China.
Normal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's wild. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, so there are people, they accidentally have babies when you can, if they didn't find out, force you, like farmers, they don't have like a job, like people in the city, so they just farmers. Yeah, you don't worry about losing your job, you're farming, right?
Yeah.
So they have a multiple babies, but those babies you have, you cannot register legally. So you kids can't go to school or do anything. You don't have a legal things because you
only register
one child. And the crazy thing is even, so I have my daughter 22 years, so crazy. When I pregnant with my daughter, actually that's the day in China you need a medical exam to get a marriage certificate.
Wow.
That was 2000, right? So
like to like make sure that you like
healthy. The doctor gonna give you a exam paper, sign a paper, say you guys are healthy. You can get married, have babies.
One baby.
So that's 2000 to 1999. 1999 during like December, we went to the hospital to have exam, and my dad is the doctor there in the hospital, so he knows someone. In China, you have to know someone, right?
Yeah.
So we have someone take us to do an exam. We said, okay, we're gonna give this anyway. During the exam, find out I was pregnant.
Wow.
So that was a big deal. And since I know people there, my dad said, don't report it. No. So didn't write down because that's before I got approved, you know. And so later we reported. Later when they get a marriage certificate, then you apply for a certificate to have baby. So the government give you a essential one. And then say there's a one baby certificate. You're allowed, you know. So they said when I received that, I reported I was pregnant. You know? So
Wow.
yeah.
Okay, and I want to know if this is like a myth or something that was real. And I think it's something that's typically associated with the one child rule. In 'cause like especially as a woman, I know that there's a lot of like I don't want to say I don't know what word I'm looking for, not rumor or myth or anything like that, but there's a lot of misconceptions or ideas that a lot of people would specifically try for a boy and try until they were able to get a girl, because if they could only have one child, they wanted a boy. Is that something that
So when I grew up, yes, that's real. So there are girls got abandoned or because they want to try to have a boy, or so now they more strict on people. Now you can have two, so people are not so crazy about it. So
only
but-
two?
So two, yeah, no, I think
Have two.
I think if I'm an only child, right?
Right.
If I marry someone like if you're only child, then we can have two.
Okay, but you
Yeah.
can have more than two.
Also, people don't want to. You know, after all these years, people have the concept they don't even want to have a lot of kids. That's the problem. It was
Just okay.
Yeah.
That's different.
that's
Okay.
different. So people have two. I think most of them have two now. And why we talk about that?
Those
So-
boys.
Oh, boys, yeah. So their girls got abandoned. They just keep trying to have a boy because they wanted their last name continue. That's important. Yeah.
Oh. And so I know here recently it's become more normal for women to keep their last names. Is that not a thing in China?
Actually, old China, yes, you have to take your husband's name.
Okay.
But you know, modern China, you don't. You don't have to take your.
But that's normal there too.
Now, I have a Jewish last name. That's why.
Yeah. Aries. Yeah.
So my Chinese name is I keep my Chinese name full name in the middle name. So
I love that. That's
Yeah.
so fascinating. I'm trying to think if I have any other. Usually I let my ADHD think of the questions as I go. I don't think I have any more now. But are there any other things that you just want people to know about either being a Chinese woman in America or growing up in China, or anything that you just really want them to know or leave them with?
leave them.
Like any final thoughts to kind of wrap up?
Final thoughts. I just hope the two country relations is getting better.
Yeah.
So we can
Absolutely.
do things together more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No,
I do see the relation getting better now. We're getting pandas. You said right back.
I totally understand what you're saying, because especially with my family being from Israel and saying like the news and
Yeah.
foreign relations, and it's like you want it to get better so bad.
Yeah.
I totally understand what you mean, because like
Yeah.
I totally understand what it's like to hear people talk about your family's home country.
Yeah.
I get it. It's stressful. It's
So
not
also
a fun time.
also my parents are worried or things. Yeah.
Exactly, because I also have family. I get it.
Yeah.
I want that for you too. I want it for both of us. So.
Everybody at home. Right?
But I obviously, like I already told you, I want to do multiple episodes with you because I love you and you're so fascinating and I adore.
I love you. So after a conversation. Oh, is that off or is it fine?
We have a one. It's
Oh, okay. Oh, right. Okay.
But I want to open up the floor for anyone to like who might have specific specific questions to ask anything that I might not be thinking of right now. With anything that they might wonder about your life or growing up in China or being a Chinese American, like any questions that you might have in the comments that when I come back and visit, we might be able to revisit more questions.
Yeah, more interesting questions, right?
I love this. This was so fun. Thank you so much for
Thank you so much.
It is amazing how I love you. I looked so much. And thank you guys for hanging out
Thank you.
today. I hope you have a great rest of your week. I hope you love Vivian as much as I do. I'm obsessed with her. And I hope to see you all next week. Bye, Caleb.
Bye.